Welcome to another episode of the Vegan Pulse. I am your host, Nancy Arenas. My guest today is Justin Barker. He is an activist and author of the new book, Bear Boy, a one-of-a-kind coming-of-age story about how two bears inspire a teenage boy to turn his passion for rescuing zoo animals into a lifetime of advocacy. The book has a foreword by Jane Goodall. His book aims to inspire the next generation of activists to question the role of animals in our daily lives and imagine a kinder, more inclusive world. Stick around. I want to introduce him to you. Hi, Justin. How are you?
Good, Nancy. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
I am doing well, but I'm very excited to have you on the show. Not only to tell me about your new book, but to tell me your journey into veganism. So would you share with us so that we know how you came to this wonderful thing called veganism?
Yeah, so I was 13 years old, 12, almost 13 years old when I found a book that Ingrid Newkirk had written for kids to help kids get involved in animal rights. And I got to the chapter about meat, and I was absolutely blown away that the meat that I had been eating my whole life was from animals. For some reason, some people have like laughed at that idea that I didn't understand the concept of what I was actually eating. But the minute that I realized that I was eating animals, I stopped. I went vegetarian when I was 13. That was in the 90s. That was still like vegetarianism was a little bit, fringy, I guess I would say. But it wasn't until I was 18, 2000, that I went vegan. And I absolutely love a vegan diet. I think that it's like both like feels really good personally, just eating vegan food feels great, and also like that we're not harming the world. We're not like killing animals for consumption. It's one of those things that is very, very important to me, and something that, man, almost 25, 26 years, it's been part of my life.
It is great to have that feeling inside you that you're not hurting the planet, that you're not hurting animals, physically, mentally. It just kind of, you just like bloom more love, wouldn't you say?
I would. It just feels sometimes with a really good vegan meal, you get a little high. And it feels like, oh man, you can feel the love, and yeah, just really special.
Now, I want you to tell me about your book, Bear Boy. Now, I heard that that young man in Bear Boy is really based on your life. Is that true?
It's true. Bear Boy is a true story. It is a memoir, and it's about when I was, from 13 to 17. And that's kind of how the book spans those years of my life. And it's really about me discovering animal rights and how animal rights and all the activism that kind of ensued changed my life, and helped me find myself and feel empowered, and also help other animals. It's called Bear Boy because, one of the things that I read in the book that was really very moving to me was the plight of zoo animals. And I started an organization to help animals in zoos. And it started at the Sacramento Zoo. Was getting information from the zookeepers there. And then the zoo director threatened to sue me. And this is all in the book, but my parents were like, she's not going to sue you. She's going to sue us, and you have to stop what you're doing. Fell into this depression. And because I was just like, this is so exciting. This activism is so exciting. And I get a letter from a woman saying there's these two bears, Brutus and Ursula, living in the worst conditions, and it happened to be a half an hour from my house. And freeing them from those conditions and speaking up for them and all zoo animals became the thing I did when I wasn't sleeping. All of my waking hours was dedicated to that.
And their name were Brutus and Ursula. Is that
Brutus
correct?
and Ursula? Yeah, yeah.
And so you got them somewhere better?
Yeah, what I started doing when I was young, the first thing I wanted to do was try to improve their conditions. They were living in a terrible cage on the edge of a creek that would flood every year. So the first thing I wanted to do was like, hey, they're here, let's improve their condition. But I quickly realized even that was a fight. So what I did was I called every sanctuary. I even called zoos. I was trying to find a new home for them, and a sanctuary, an animal sanctuary called Folsom Zoo Animal Sanctuary, not too far from the bears, said, "Hey, we'll take the bears, but it's going to cost $250,000 to actually build them a new home." So that's that battle to raise money and to rally both all the cities and people around this cause is what the book's about.
Wow. Kudos to you. I mean, that's an amazing feat to be able to do that. And you want this book, you wrote it as a memoir, but you also wanted to inspire young activists to show them that they also can have a voice and can have a purpose and can actually do something.
That's the only reason why I wrote the book. When I found that book about animal rights when I was young, I'm not exaggerating. It literally changed my life. It turned me into a lifelong activist, not just for animals, but for social justice. And I wrote this book because I wanted the next Justin, the next person who is struggling in the suburbs or trying to find their purpose, to be able to see that they're powerful and that they have it within them with enough tenacity and follow through to create massive change in the world. And that's why I wrote the book, was for all those young folks who are still looking for their passion.
That is awesome. That is, and I think that I also saw in the book that you had to confront bullying and things like that as you were growing up, and you talk about that in the book.
Yeah, it's funny. It took me 10 years to write this book, and I never realized how connected the struggle that I had around bullying, how connected it was to my activism. That in the same way that I was bullied in the halls of junior high, zoo animals are bullied in their cages all the time. All you have to do is to go to any zoo to witness the taunting and the pointing and the laughter and the nowhere to go. And so this story was really about animal rights and about the problems with zoos and what I went through. But it took me a long time to realize how connected the bullying and taunting I faced, and how I was able to empathize with animals because they face a similar thing, and worse. So that is definitely like one of the narrative strings throughout the story.
And every animal that is exploited in any form is being bullied. I mean, people don't make that connection, but like you said, in zoos, in animal agriculture, if you're using animals, if you are eating animals, these animals, other sentient beings like us, what I call our cousins from another mother, are being bullied. And that is, if you bully one, you bully all. It's like, if you do something to one, you do it to all, because we're all connected.
It's true. And yeah, it's a lifetime of bullying and abuse that ends in a horrific death for most animals. And it's that's why I love veganism and animal activism, because it's an opportunity to resist those systems. For me, I hope to, leave this planet better off. And veganism and activism is an amazing way to do that.
Wow. Again, it's an inspiring story. It's show us the book. You got a copy of the book, what it looks like, and tell us, when is it coming out?
The book is right here. It's the foreword by Jane Goodall, which is amazing. And it's she wrote the foreword, and she's like the most amazing grassroots activist on the planet. I'll tell you that. But the book is coming out June 22nd. It's available on pre-order now, but then once it's after June 22nd, it's available anywhere you can buy books. And I'm encouraging everyone to support their local bookshop and hit up their library and ask for it to be there, because for me, it's all about how many young people can get access to this book. So any way you can help me with that would be amazing.
That is awesome. So everybody go out and get Bear Boy, because it's coming out June 22nd. And it's a great, inspiring story that shows that no matter how young you are or where you are, you can do something to help someone. So
thank you, Nancy. Oh. Yes, and thank you for what you're doing. It's media and sharing stories is like how we're going to create change in the world, how you're creating change in the world. So thank you. That's one of the themes in the book too, is storytelling is what brings people into the fold. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I surely do appreciate you being on the show, because I definitely believe that storytelling and hearing the journeys that different individuals from different places. You're in San Francisco, and I'm here in Albuquerque, and we have had people from all over the world sharing stories about how they came to veganism. And it just shows that we're all in the same kind of place. And we are all different genders, different ages, different nationalities, different religions, but yet we still hold to the message that is love, veganism. So thank you for saying yes and being a guest on this show.
Of course. Keep up the amazing work.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of The Vegan Pulse. I am your host, Nancy Arenas. Remember, follow us on Facebook, check out our website, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have a pulse, you have a purpose. Live vegan.